Hi guys, how are you? Hope you're doing good and welcome again. It's been long, but let's do this once again. So before we start, please make sure you subscribe, you like, and you share. So thank you so much for the continued support and please continue doing so. So at times we marry for love, we marry for a lot of things, but there's a woman who married what had remained. She didn't marry a person, she didn't marry a person like physically, she like married a spirit. So the year Amani married a ghost, the river stopped flooding its banks. People noticed things like that in Nyamutei. They noticed when birds changed direction flight midnight, when dogs refused to cross certain paths, when houses stood long without collapsing. No one asked her directly. In Nyamutei, questions were asked sideways. Hermione had always been solitary, but not lonely in the way people pitied. She spoke little, observed much, and carried herself with the calm of someone who had already accepted the shape of her life. She worked at the edge of the village, cataloging old records of a church that no longer held services, births, deaths, land disputes, names half erased by time. That is how she found his name. It appeared in the margins of a ledge, written smaller than the rest, as if ashamed of its own existence. Kivuli Mbere. No birth date, no family history, only a single word beneath it. That night, Amani dreamt of a house by the river, a house everyone avoided, but no one remembered abandoning. In the dream, the door stood open, and inside was a man, made not from flesh, but of waiting. She woke up and went there. The house smelled of dust and old rain. Light bent strangely inside it, refusing to settle. She didn't hear footsteps, yet she was not alone. You came back, a voice said, not loud, but close like a thought that wasn't hers. I don't know why, she answered truthfully. Kivuli had not known he was a ghost at first. Death explained later. It arrived without announcement. One moment he had been a man with a name, a job, unfinished plans. The next he was a presence people avoided, blamed, and erased. He had been accused of something that went conveniently unresolved, and silence had sealed his fate tighter than a grave. Days turned into weeks. She returned into the house often, sometimes speaking, sometimes just sitting. She brought no offerings, made no demands. What tethered Kivuli to her was not desire, but witness. The villagers began to talk. They said that Amani was conversed with air. They said she had been claimed. When her aunt confronted her, carefully frightened, Amani only replied, I have made a vow. It was not a vow of love, nor of possession. It was a vow of recognition. The marriage itself happened quietly before dawn. Amani stood alone in the house by the river and spoke words no officiant had written, words meant for someone who had been denied ceremony even in death. I bind my life to remembering you. I will not let your name vanish. You will not wander unheard. The walls trembled, not violently, but like a breath released after years of being held. From that day, Kivuli changed. He no longer lingered in corners or spoke only in echoes. He followed Amani beyond the house, beyond the river, where he had once been tethered into injustice. Now he was anchored by purpose. He was not jealous, not demanding. He did not interfere with the living. Amani began correcting words. She restored names. She annotated lies. She added footnotes where the truth had been conveniently lost. People resisted at first. The dead, they said, should stay buried. But facts have weight, and slowly the village was forced to acknowledge what it had erased. Kivuli name had appeared again, this time not in proper ink. When that happened, the house by the river collapsed. Wood gave away softly as if relieved. Dust rose and settled. Nothing was left but open ground. Kivuli did not disappear. Instead, he grew lighter. Years passed and Amani aged. Her hair grayed, her steps slowed. Kivuli spoke less from a distance, but from peace. He no longer needed to remind her he was there. One last evening, as the sun dipped low, Amani sat by the river. The air felt complete. You can go, she said quietly. I know, Kivuli replied, but you stayed. When Amani died, the village buried her with full rites. And though no one carved a second name beside hers, the river did not flood that year either. Some unions are witnessed, some are celebrated, some exist only to correct the world. Amani did not marry death, she married what had remained after truth had been buried, and by doing so, she set it free. So, guys, if you like the story, please don't leave without a subscribe. Thank you so much. See you in the next video.